Hello everyone and welcome back to a new part on the How to Make a Pet Simulator X style game series. In this video, we're going to be starting to work on the pet inventory system. Also, if you guys want to support me and want to have access to all of my project files, including the one you're watching right now, the map will be included, the asset pack will be included, and the scripts will be included. They will all be available on my Patreon in the $10 tier. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. With that being said, let's start. Alright, so we're gonna start by making the pet inventory UI. So I'm going to go inside of the main SS for main screen GUI, and I'm going to go to frames and I'm going to disable starter pet. I'll just go to visible and make sure that it's not visible. And I'm going to add a frame. Now the size of this frame will be 1, 0, 1, 0, and the background transparency to 1. And the anchor point to 0.5, and the position to 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. That should center the frame and put the anchor point to the middle of the frame. The next thing I'm going to do is add another frame. Now for the other frame, I'm going to go to plugins, unit conversion, and convert it to scale. I'll leave a link to this plugin in the description. I'm also going to close off all of my other scripts. And I'm going to go to my starter pet frame, main frame, and I'm just going to get the UI stroke and the UI corner from this and paste it in here. This is optional, you don't have to do that, but it just makes it look a bit nicer. So I'm just going to resize this, center it, and then I'm going to add a scrolling frame, and I'm going to put the scrolling frame right here, resize it, maybe this big. Okay, I think this is a good size. Okay, this is good. Now I'm going to go to plugins, unit conversion, scale again, also get rid of. Also, I just added this UI aspect ratio constraint by mistake. You can just get rid of it. And then I'm going to select my scrolling frame, make the background transparency 1, and make the border size pixel 0. And I'm going to get rid of this scroll bar. So I'm going to go to scroll bar transparency, and I'm going to change that to 1. And then I'm also going to, I think, yes, I'm going to go to automatic canvas size, and I'm going to change that to Y. And then I'm going to add a UI grid layout, and I'm going to add a text button inside of the scrolling frame. Now for the text button, I'm going to add a UI corner to this, and I'm going to make the text button color a nice light blue. Maybe something like that, and the text to nothing, to just an empty string. And then I'm going to set the UI corner radius to 0 on the offset and 0.1 in the scale, and I'm going to rename this to template. And then I'm going to duplicate it a couple of times, and I'm going to go to, where is it? I'm going to select my UI grid layout, and I'm going to go to the cell size and mess up with this. So the offset should be 0 on the X and the Y, and the scale should be 0.1, or maybe a bit more, 0.2, maybe 0.15. Yeah, that's perfect. And the scale on the Y, 0.01, or 0.1, or 0.2, 0.3. That looks perfect, I think. And I'm also going to go down and change the, where is it, the horizontal alignment to center, and then I'll go to the cell padding and convert it to scale 2. So offset 0, scale 0.02, or 0.02, maybe 0.01, and on the Y 0.012, or maybe 0.01, or 0.02. Okay, that looks to be perfect, I think. And the next thing I'm gonna do is make sure that this fits. Okay, if you duplicate this, it should scale itself depending on the size of this. And yes, it does. So I'm going to get rid of the other templates and just keep one. And the first template, what I'm going to do is go to the, okay, so I think it needs a UI corner, a UI stroke, but I don't think that's gonna work with a UI grid layout. And yes, it does not. So what I'm going to do is make sure that auto button color is turned off, because I don't like that effect. And I'm going to add a text label, and I'm going to change the size of the text label to 0.1, or actually 1 on the x, 0, 1, 0, 0.2, 0. And I'm also going to change the background transparency to 1, and the font to Verdoka 1, and the text to pet name, maybe multipliers, maybe times 1. Pet stats, maybe this will be stats. And I'm also going to change the size. So I'm going to make this bit, actually, I just need to turn on text scaled. And I'm going to change the text color to white. And I think that looks good. Now I'm going to duplicate this and position it right here. But this time it will be named pet name. And I'm going to change the text to pet name. And I think it should be a bit smaller. And just position it. And then I'm going to get a nice, okay, I'm going to add a nice frame for displaying the pet. Background transparency 1, size 1, 0, 1, 0. And I think that should be good. Now I'm going to change the background transparency and see if it overlays the others. And as you can see, it overlays the pet name and the multiplier. So just select your both of the text labels and change the z index to 2. And that should fix it. Now if I put the transparency this back to 1, as you can see them now. And what I'm going to do is add a text label right here. I'm going to copy the stats label and paste that inside of the actual frame right here. And I'm going to change the text color to a nice blue. Or actually, I'm going to get that blue right here. Copy this blue. And I'm just going to put it right here to the text color. And then I'm going to give it a nice stroke. So I'm just going to get this stroke right here and put it inside of that. So like that. And I'm going to change the this to, actually I think this should be contextual, and I think that should work. And I'm going to change the text to inventory, or maybe all caps. Yeah, that looks better. Now I'm just going to duplicate this, and as you can see, our pet inventory looks kind of nice. So now I'm just going to make sure that this template is invisible, and I'm just going to double check if we got that. Okay, modules. So we don't have a module. Okay, but I think that's not really a problem because we already have this function. What I'm going to do is add a, I'm going to make sure that this is not visible. That this frame right here, by the way, I'm going to rename this frame to inventory. And this frame right here to main frame. And then I'm going to, okay, I think everything is named correctly now. Now I'm going to make the pet inventory invisible. And what I'm going to do is add a module script right here, and I'm going to call it pet inventory. Now what I'm going to do is some services. So we need players. So local players is equal to game get service players, and then we also need tween service. Game get service tween service, and then we need replicated storage. And what do we need? Okay, I think that's all. Now I'm going to do local pets. Pets is equal to replicated storage for child pets, and local remotes is equal to pets with child. Replicated storage with child remotes, and local shared is equal to, and replicated storage with child shared. And I think that's all we need. And then I'm going to do function module.create pet template, and it's also going to, the first argument of this function will be pet name. And what I'm going to do is up here I'm going to create a reference to the player. So local player is equal to players.local player, and then local player GUI is equal to player with child player GUI, and then local main SS is equal to player GUI wait for child main SS, and local frames is equal to main SS with child frames, and local inventory is equal to frames with child inventory, and local mainframe is equal to mainframe is equal to inventory with child mainframe, and then local scrolling frame is equal to, and mainframe with child scrolling frame, and local template is equal to scrolling frame with child template. And I think that's it. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is do local cloned template is equal to template clone, and clone template. Oh, I spelled cloned template wrong. So clone template, and clone template dot name is equal to pet name, and clone template dot parent is equal to, and scrolling frame. And what I'm going to do next is get the pet model. So local pet model right here is equal to, and I should change that. Okay, so it should be pets with child pet model pet name, or find first child pet name. So pets find first child pet name, then clone. And then I'm going to do, okay, so this should be the pet name. Okay, so what I'm going to do is inside of each pet I'm going to have a string value, or maybe an int value, and this is going to be multiplier. So I'm going to call it multiplier, and for this one it's going to be 2. And I'm just going to copy it and paste it inside of every single pet that I have. And the next thing I'm going to do is go to the, okay, so clone template dot stats dot text is equal to, and x dot and pet model dot multiplier dot value. Or maybe we need to get the format number alt, the format number. So what I'm going to do is local format number is equal to shared for child format number, and I'm going to change this to format number format number dot format. Actually, this should be require. Sorry. So require format number and format number dot. Okay, so dot format number dot format compact, and we're gonna do pet model dot multiplier dot value, and that should work. Now what I'm going to do next is, okay, so it should be stats, pet name, then we need to do clone template dot pet name dot text is equal to, and it should be, okay, so pet name, just pet name, and then after parenting it we need to display the pet. So what I'm going to do is convert this frame that we added right here inside of the template. I'm going to rename it to, okay, I'm going to get rid of it and I'm going to add a viewport frame instead. And this viewport frame will be resized to 1, 0, 1, 0, and the background transparency to 1. And then we can enter back our pet inventory. And what I'm going to do is, okay, require the module for the viewport module. So local viewport module is equal to require script.parent calling for child viewport, and I'm going to enter that viewport script just to check the function. Okay, so it takes the viewport and the model. So just do, after that we're gonna do viewport module dot display model, and it takes the viewport, which is clone template dot viewport frame, comma, and pet model. Okay, so let's see, so are we cloning the model here? Okay, so we are not cloning the model, so I'm going to get rid of this colon clone right here, and then I'm going to try this out. So also we need to make sure that the clone template dot visible is equal to true. And I'm going to do this before parenting it. And then I'm going to make sure that this is invisible. Okay, good. Now we can just do task, just to test task.wait 10 seconds. And what we're going to do is module.create template, and we're going to do it for the cat. And we're going to do it in a for loop. So for I is equal to 1 to 10. Do. And we're going to do task.wait 3 seconds. And I'm going to play the game and see if this is going to work. So I'm going to go to POLARISPROG, players UI, main SS, frames, start inventory, make sure that it's visible, and we're going to see if this works. So it shows the cat, as you can see. It creates it again. And okay, so I see a couple of problems with this. First is, so the only problem that I see actually is these are not really visible. You can't really see the name and that. So I'm going to make this visible. And I'm going to go to these two. I'm going to make the template visible too. And I'm going to copy that UI stroke that we have right here and paste it inside of the stats. And then we're gonna go here, change this to contextual, and just paste it inside of that too. And I think you should be able to see the pet name and the multiplier now. I'm going to make sure that these are not visible again. I'm going to make this invisible and play the game again. And that should look a bit better. So values, player GUI, main SS, frames, where is it? Inventory, visible. And that should look better. And yes, it does. So you can see the cat, and you can also see the... Okay, so I think this is good enough. Actually, what I'm going to do before we end this tutorial is show you how to call this function. So I'm going to go to the egg client, and I'm going to require this pet inventory module. So local pet inventory module is equal to require script.parent colon with child pet inventory module, or just pet inventory. And then down here, what we can do is we can just do pet inventory or create template pet chosen pet dot pet name, and that should be it. Now I am just going to enter back my pet inventory module and get rid of this, because that was just for testing. And I'm going to play the game again. And I'm going to make my, okay, I'm going to hatch. Actually, I'm going to go here, main SS, frames, and make the inventory, just select the inventory. I'm going to hatch this. And I'm going to make this visible after a bit. So as you can see, now we have the cat. I can hatch this again. We should get another cat. And yeah, this works perfectly. Now we should be able to see a fox. Yes. Okay, so as you can see, this works. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. If this helped, make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.